Hello, my name is Chris Caldwell at Highland Trust Partners, and thank you for joining this recording to talk about the Secure 2.0 Act that was recently passed at the end of December by the administration. We are going to cover several topics over the next 15 minutes or so that are part of this act. There are a bunch. We're going to limit it down. I've limited it down to the things that feel are going to be more relevant to the majority of people. There are several that are directly to or for plan sponsors, the people who are running your company retirement plans, but we as individuals don't have decision-making power on those in the plan. So I can have a separate one of these just for plan administrators, plan sponsors, company owners, business owners later, or of course, as I will say several times during this recording, you can easily just contact us individually, anybody on our team at Highland or HTP at highlandtrustpartners.com. My email is chris.caldwell at highlandtrustpartners.com. So if you have any individual questions, please reach out. The chat room was closed and we did the live version today. For those on the live version watching this, you may go, this doesn't look like where Chris filmed this to begin with, and you're right. I rewatched or listened to that video later, and sound quality wasn't as good as it probably needed to be. There's some office distractions that I wanted to do this on in my kitchen, improvising that way. Hopefully a little bit more quiet. The dogs don't bark. Quick disclosure, we are not CPAs. We are not tax professionals. So there'll be several things that I'll mention that you probably do need to talk to your CPA or tax expert about. We are tax strategists, tax planners as part of being a financial planner, and we will work side by side with your individuals to make sure that whatever you need to implement for you and your family and your business, and eventually will work its best, okay, and customized directly to you. This is why we think it's advantageous to work with planners like us. We study this. We look at legislation all the time. We're paying attention to the things that could go into law before they're ever enacted, just in case. We want to analyze it and be ready for it. So if and that's part of us doing this. Several of these topics we've been looking at or I've been studying for the last year. So I had to get ready for maybe them passing and seeing what kind of verbiage was eventually changed by legislatures. So reach out to us whenever you feel opportunity to do so. So let's get started. We'll keep this to, like I said, from start to end, 15 or so minutes, and we'll go a little bit quickly so you're not trapped on listening to me talk for the next hour or so, which I could easily do. The first thing I want to mention is required minimum distributions. Everybody knows, or those who are aging or had parents taking these, you know that if you have a retirement account, an IRA, a 401k, a 403b, that you are required at a certain age to take a distribution from that account. It's required by the IRS. You'll pay tax on that distribution if it's a deferred account. That has been 70.5 forever. The IRS, or excuse me, legislators changed this back in 2019, 2020 with the Secure Act 1.0. That took it to 72 years of age, and that's what it's been since then. Now, starting in 2023, it's going to 73. So if you turn 72 by the end of 2022, you've already taken your distribution, I would assume. We've run those calculations for our clients, and I'm hoping that you do that and you track that and are taking care of it. So it's going forward from now on, it's 73 years of age. So we'll be looking at some different things. We'll make sure that people who were originally scheduled to take their RMDs, required minimum distributions, out for 2023. We factor that in, of course. We'll obviously do that. If we need to run some cash flow analysis for you, if you're from your 401ks, 403bs, we'll look at that as well. And ironically, the legislatures went ahead and took this out till 2032. So in 2032, it moves up to 75 years of age. Okay, so they went ahead and stretched it out there to say that. I'm not paying a lot of attention to that. If you're working with me, you may see me put that in your cash flow projections out that far. But I mean, a lot can change in 10 years. Obviously, this legislation has changed a couple of things in the last couple. So I'm not going to get too worked up to focus on that age quite yet. It could be adjusted several times even before that date. So that's one. The RMD age has changed. Number two, the penalty. So a lot of folks, and rightfully so, be worried that you get your RMDs done by the end of the calendar year that you're required to do. Again, we calculate that. You shouldn't have to worry about it if you're working with us. The penalty was 50% of what you should take out, which can be really hefty. That's expensive. That's a heck of a penalty. They have reduced that to 25% of what you're required to remove. So they did drop the penalty. But again, you should be working with people to help you track this anyway. It shouldn't ever be a problem. If for some reason you catch it quickly, say you, there's no hard, fast rule on this. I don't believe technically yet. They just say within a allowable window. But if you missed it at the end of the year and the first week of the new year, oh no, I should have taken it. I meant to have done that. There's an account I forgot about, or a beneficiary account, something. You may only get the penalty being 10%. So there is I don't know, you have to petition the IRS. Some of this stuff we're trying to figure out as we go. A lot of these rules, a lot of these changes, the administration have put them in their law, but there is no process and procedure quite yet to make these happen, if you will. All right, so that was two. The third thing I wanted to point out was elimination of requirement distributions for Roth retirement accounts, corporate business retirement accounts. So if you have a Roth IRA, you do not have to take a requirement distribution. What was missed in legislation when they allowed Roths to be in 401k plans, 403b plans, and like, is that they never tweaked the rules to say you didn't have to take a distribution or requirement of distribution at those ages inside of those plans. So realistically, we're talking to retired or employees who are for at least their Roth portion of their retirement plan, their corporate retirement plan, they would roll that over somewhere into an individual Roth IRA, so they can avoid that RMD. Otherwise, if they had a Roth account in a 401k plan at 72 years of age, the old rule, or 73 now, they would actually have to take a distribution required out of that plan. That has been eliminated. That's something they finally caught. I don't know how long it took them to really catch it and fix it, but for this going forward, effective 2024, not 2023. So you probably will have to take, if you turn 73 in 2023 and you have a Roth 401k plan, you may have to take a distribution next year. That's something we probably need to talk about. But anyway, starting 2024, that has been eliminated. So we don't have to worry about Roth 401ks, 457s, 403bs, you having to take a distribution out. The next thing, another thing that was done in this legislation was for small business owners, SEPs and simple accounts, retirement plans. They have created now where you can actually open a simple or a SEP Roth. Used to, you only could do it as a traditional. Now you can convert it, make it a Roth. So we could still do that for you. But but now for operational reasons, if nothing else, they've actually made it to where you can start with a simple Roth or a SEP Roth. So that's great. At least they got that put into practice. Okay, another piece that we like, or I like particularly, is they're improving the catch-ups for people who are saving. So used to, if you're, if you're over 50, you have a catch-up contribution you can do to your IRA, your Roth, your retirement plans at work, retirement accounts at work. So beginning in year 2025, so a few years out, if you're 60, 61, 62, 63, you can increase your contribution, your catch-up to your company retirement plans. So if you have, again, a 401k, a 403b, a 457 plan, you're allowed to contribute more during those years of age, 60, 61, 62, 63. So it's $10,000 or 50% greater than what was allowed at age 50 index for inflation. So when you get to those ages, or as you're in your upper 50s now, maybe, and you're going to hit those ages in year 2025 and later, it wouldn't hurt, and we'll talk to you about this if you're a client, but it wouldn't hurt for you to go ahead and start figuring out, if you do want to contribute extra, how you do that, how much that's going to be. That's pretty important, I think, for people who are trying to catch up. They didn't do as much as maybe they would have liked to have done. So this is a time period that they can go in and fix that. So at least the IRS put that into play. Now, one thing they did do, though, for higher income earners. So a lot of the people who do catch-ups contributions in their company retirement plans, they are usually higher income earners, really, because they can afford to put that much extra in their company plans. So those over the age of 50 who are doing catch-ups, in a lot of cases, what I would see is they had adjusted gross income of over 145,000. Well, the IRS has came in, or for legislation in this act has come in and said, if you earn more than $145,000, you can still catch up. You can do the 50 plus catch up, and like you've always been able to do. You can do the 60, 61, 62, 63 catch up. However, your catch up is no longer going to be tax deferred. It will go into a Roth account in your plan. So you will, even if you weren't saving Roth money in your retirement plan, your catch up side in age 50 plus or those 60 years, that is going to go or be required to go in a Roth account. There's no choice in the matter. So those are for your 401ks, your 403bs, your government plans. That's not for your IRAs, your traditional normal IRAs, which obviously when you hit those those AGI numbers, adjusted gross income at 145, well, you probably can't contribute to your IRA anyway. The IRS says you earn too much money to tax defer it regardless. So that's a CPA conversation. That's something we're going to want to talk to you about for sure. If you're one of those people who do catch-up work in your plans, and you at that dollar sign, that 145 number, you're going to want to talk to us. We'll probably talk to you regardless, but without you even reaching out. But please keep that in mind and reach out to us if you've got particular questions before we have a chance to get to you. The one other thing they have done with 401ks, 403bs, IRAs is allow a personal emergency withdrawal. So in an IRA account, you have to be 59 and a half to take money out, or you're penalized. In a 401k, 403b, depending on the rules of the plan, you may be able to borrow money in a loan. You may be able to qualify for hardship withdrawals, the strict IRS rules for hardships. Now they've said, okay, we want to give everybody the option, regardless of age, regardless of how many years they've been participating. They can pull $1,000 of their own money back out for emergencies. That's yours. You can do that one time a year. The way I read it is you can't do $250 4 times. So you can do it one time per year. You can pay it back. If you pay it back, you can repeat it again. Okay, so there are some stipulations about how many of these are how often you can do these over time. But it does allow individuals, participants, or people saving in retirement plans and IRAs to pull a little money out for emergency purposes without having to explain what it's for. Okay. The last thing I want to touch on real quick is something I've been watching now for probably the last 12 plus months is the ability to convert 529 money that we've saved for our children, a lot of us have, into Roth IRAs for them. So if it gets to the point you realize I'm not going to use this money for my child, my beneficiary, whoever your beneficiary is, usually kids or grandkids. The kids aren't going to use the money. They don't need it. They got other money for college. They didn't go to college, something like that. What do I do with it? I don't have anybody else to change the beneficiary to give it to somebody else in the family. Does it just go to waste? I have to pay penalties to take it out and all that. So that now they're allowing you to convert whoever the beneficiary is now. That's one key. There's several rules to this. Whoever the beneficiary is, you can open a Roth IRA for that beneficiary, and you can begin to move money for that 529 plan over into their name. Some other stipulations. The account, the 529, had to be open at least 15 years, which means you didn't just start this when they were 10, 11, 12 years old, unless you're going to wait and convert it when they're in their 20s. But these are for people who have had 529 plans for a long time, at least 15 years. That gives them the opportunity to start moving that over to a Roth IRA in that individual beneficiary's name. That's one stipulation. Another one is that anything that's contributed to that 529 plan has to be more than 5 years old to convert over. So if I've had the plan open for 15 years, all of a sudden 3 years ago I made a larger contribution to the 529 plan. That money I put in for 3 years is locked for another 2. It has to be in there for 5, right? So what's been in there prior to that, I can probably start converting that over. But what I just recently contributed within the last 5 years, I have to wait 5 years to start moving that. You can only move what's allowed as a Roth contribution. So not to confuse this too much, but you can, if you qualify, you can, from your income, you can make a $6,500 contribution to a Roth account in 2023. Okay, so it's $6,500. If I were to go ahead and move money over to my from my 529 to a Roth account for my son, I can only move $6,500 this year. That's the maximum allowed for me to move. One caveat: this doesn't start till 2024. This is 2023, even though I gave that example this year. Also, my child, who I'm moving that into, that $6,500, he or she has to have earned income of that much in that year too. So if they have a part-time job and they make $6,500, they can keep their $6,500 and do what they're doing with save it. But you can convert $6,500. If they only made 3 of taxable income for that calendar year, you can only convert 3 regardless of the IRS limits for Roth contributions. So keep that in mind. And the last thing, 35,000 is the maximum that can be moved over lifetime. So you can't take $100,000 529 plan and make that $100,000 Roth account ever. So that's something to know. There are some things we're looking at. It's a little gray area with some of this. There's some planning tactics for some people, I think, as far as the outlook on doing this going forward. So if you have 529 plans in existence now and you're wondering, I may not use that for school, is this something I should consider? If you're considering opening a 529 or ever been told to, and you're not sure because, my kids may not need it for college, or my grandkids may need it for college, or maybe you're a grandparent and you want to do they're calling it hyper saving for grandkids retirement. So there may be some strategies there. Ask us what that means and we can discuss that too. So like I said, I want to keep this fairly short and sweet today. I didn't want to throw too much at everybody. If you are a plan administrator, plan sponsor, I didn't really touch on anything as far as updates to how you can change your retirement plans, your company retirement plans around, or make some adjustments to them. There are plenty. I'm happy to talk about those. That's in my wheelhouse. So if you want to reach out to me to have that discussion, love to do so. If you're a client of ours already with those, and we're helping you manage your company retirement plans, we're going to reach out to you regardless of reach out to us and to see if there's things we need to do to help you. So other than that, I appreciate the time. Hope it wasn't too long and boring, and hope you get some good use out of it. Call us. Don't forget, call us, email us, and we're here to help you. So give us the opportunity to do that. All right. Thank you, folks, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day.